Good afternoon. Welcome to the July 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this special meeting was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the Township website, mailed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy. 48-hour notice of this meeting was also transmitted via fax or email to the Suburban Trends, Daily Record, and the Record newspapers. This notice included the statements that the purpose of this special meeting is to introduce an ordinance amending the Township of Pequannock Code of Ordinances to repeal Chapter 171, to adopt a new Chapter 171, to adopt flood hazard maps, to designate a floodplain administrator, and providing for severability and an effective date, and to approve the payment of bills.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
Mr. Siracusa and Mayor Dreese are absent.
The next item on our agenda is public comment, but before we start the public comment, I'd like Mr. Brewer to address today's meeting because I think a lot of you are misunderstood about why we're really here. Maybe.
Possibly. I'll open with, I don't usually get such an interested audience, so this is fantastic. To begin with, the ordinance that is being considered for introduction this afternoon, introduction is a ministerial act by the governing body. The public hearing and the potential adoption will be at a regularly scheduled meeting. So this is just to make a timeline, which I'm going to get into in a minute. The FEMA model ordinance was disseminated to the Township of Pequannock sometime in March of this year. The ordinance that's being considered today is a model ordinance which is being imposed by FEMA on every municipality or entity that participates in the National Flood Insurance Program. So it is a one-size-fits-all ordinance for anything that potentially could flood in Wyoming, Texas, South Carolina, or New Jersey. New Jersey has one of the highest regulated areas in terms of development, flood. Anybody who's tried to build a house, deal with DEP, many of you are flood-prone or deal with flood-prone properties. The challenge we had with the ordinance was it was sent to us and said, adopt this. And if you fail to adopt this by the 19th of August, you're out of the National Flood Insurance Program. So that's discount on insurance, that's access to home elevation grants, that's a lot of things which are, the costs would be staggering in the seven figures. So when we got the ordinance, Mr. Ustake, Brett Russo, the township engineer, and I sat down and were amazed at how many references there were to sand dunes and coastal flooding and everything else, because it was a one-size-fits-all ordinance for every NFIP entity in the United States of America. After a review, we pushed back because in order for us, the governing body, to introduce the ordinance, NJDEP has to approve it. So on May 16th, a thorough review was sent to DEP with comments, the likes of which included your definitions conflict with the municipal land use law in New Jersey. Your definitions conflict with the Uniform Construction Code in New Jersey. For the most part, the responses we got back from FEMA were, we don't care. This is the ordinance, this is the definition. Mr. Russo's memo says as much if you read it on fronting the ordinance. We don't care. It's the required ordinance, and if you want to participate in NFIP, this is what is required and this is what you must do. So on most of the issues that we raised, they told us to take a long walk off a short pier. Where we did achieve one element of victory was the model ordinance from FEMA includes a permit for development in the floodplain, even if the Uniform Construction Code permit is not required. And the model ordinance from FEMA wants that to be cumulative and add up to the substantial damage limit for the house, which if you hit it, if you may be aware, that requires it to be elevated. What we were able to do is have that not count towards the substantial damage amount. which is positive for our residents. And we will likely be marrying that application simply with our zoning application so we comply with what is required. The bones of the ordinance and the requirements of the ordinance are essentially otherwise the same as the ordinance that is currently on the books. The maps, which is what everybody gets most excited about, following the township's successful scientific resolution panel appeal, were determined in 2024. They're available online. Those are not changing. The governing body, if this ordinance is adopted, the maps will become effective on August 19th. The current ordinance on the books says that as soon as the maps are current, as soon as they're confirmed by FEMA, there are effective maps. So this legislation has zero impact, although it says it in the title and although it describes it, has zero impact on the actual maps. So this doesn't put anything in, this doesn't take anything out. This is the federal government has decided something has to be done. They told the state government it's got to be rammed down the throats of the municipalities. It was. We fought the best battle we could. We won some skirmishes. And ultimately, if the township would like to continue to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program, we have no choice but to adopt the ordinance which has been approved by the NJDEP. It's a ministerial act. That's why it was done at 1 o'clock. It wasn't done to hide anything. It wasn't done to deceive anybody. It wasn't done to be in any way surreptitious. It was simply, this is likely a 3-minute meeting, with the exception of the interest, which again I love, and the opportunity to explain it. Following
The other reason it was 1 o'clock is June, July, and August, we only have one meeting a month.
Right.
And we need to get this done so we can approve it at the next meeting.
Right, so nothing's being rushed, and the public hearing and potential adoption is scheduled for a regularly scheduled meeting on Tuesday, the 12th of August at 7 p.m. I am happy at the conclusion of this meeting to hang out and chat with anybody about whatever questions you might have to try to get ahead of them or address them in the interim. And unless there's any questions from the mayor or deputy mayor or anybody else on the dais, I will happily turn the meeting back to you.
Awesome, thank you. No questions?
Well, you're going to have public comment, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it now. That's what I said.
Yep.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. This comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Additional time is reserved later in the meeting. We welcome comments, suggestions, and questions during this comment period. However, the purpose of this is to allow public comment, not to engage in a dialogue. If you have a specific question, please feel free to pose it and then follow up with staff via telephone or email. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Nick?
Nick DiStefano, 28 Greenwood Ave. Yeah, the obvious question is really us adopting this one-size-fits-all. What is like the clear negatives, besides, where there's references to V zones, which we obviously don't have. And is there any clarification on any of that? Adam, anybody?
We're going to have everybody do their public comment, then if he wants to address.
Yeah, because that, right off the bat, that's what, what's the
I'll tell
clarity?
you the negative of us not signing it, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone else?
Hi, Anna Lee, 6 Arundel Road. My question might be a little bit further down the road, but I was wondering what the status is going to be on existing LOMAs, letters of map amendment, and letters of map, LOMA and LOMAR, right?
LOMAR,
Are they I received a letter of map amendment on my property, and I was wondering, based on the new maps, is that still going to be respected, or am I going to have to do that again?
Have a seat, we'll answer all the questions
Okay.
when we're done. Jim, I saw your hand raised before.
Jim Hout, 13 Lynn Place. My question is if I'm going to do construction in my property, I'm going to redo a kitchen renovation. According to what this ordinance is saying, I need to pull a permit where in the past I haven't. That's my first question. My second question is you're going to hire a new administrator? Where is that money coming from and who's paying for it?
Okay, have a seat.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Is there anything you want to respond to?
Please, come
We got one more.
We got one more, and then I can address it.
Hi, Rich Michaels on 57 Village Road in the Village. Is there going to be an additional charge for the additional permit? Right now, permits to do anything, there's a charge. I went through that when I rebuilt for the flood, all right, and a couple other things. But is there additional charge for that additional permit? And if there is, who's paying for it? Thank you.
Any other? At this time, we're going to close the public comment, and Adam, do you have any?
Sure, I'll do my best to take them in order. Mr. DiStefano, references to zones that don't exist have no effect because the zones don't exist, and it's FEMA's ordinance, so deal with it. It's basically what they told us. So there were lots of references, again, like I said, to sand dunes and other coastal elements that we just don't have. But if it's not, if it doesn't apply, it just doesn't apply. As far as downsides go, the permit. Based upon my inclusion in the process, the additional intrusion of government in your opportunity to improve your private property is really the only downside. Kind of touching on that, what was brought up now, if there is a fee, my recommendation to the governing body will be de minimis, one of those $5 jobs. But that's ultimately up to them, but that would be the recommendation. The township engineer and I fought hard against this, and we're told it's required. So I understand the frustration with it, but unfortunately, in order to participate in NFIP, which is really important, we're going to have to deal with it. Lomars and Lomas, my understanding, and that's in italics, is they will proceed as they were granted. The best thing to do is call the flood resilience officer, Kevin Nelson. We are one of, I think, 3 municipalities in the state of New Jersey that have someone that fulfills that role. Take advantage of it. Give Mr. Nelson a call, ask him the question. If he can't answer it, he will definitely get you a definitive answer, and you can hang your hat on it. Again, the permit, de minimis, there already is a floodplain administrator. It's the township engineer. So much like the maps, which would have been adopted and effective on the 19th of August anyway, the floodplain administrator is the township engineer, will continue to be the township engineer, and no real change there. So there's nothing there other than the language that makes it seem exciting in a document that, for the 7th time, we don't have a choice on. I think that's everything posed.
Just a quick question, if you don't mind. So you said it's up to them. You mean it's up to us for the permit fee?
Yes.
FEMA can't say to us, this is the permit fee that we are proposing?
Correct.
So it's up to us?
Correct.
Perfect.
As with fence permits, zoning permits, any other fees are the prerogative legislatively of the council.
Perfect.
Right. So I just want to reiterate, so what Nick said, the only bad thing is you actually have to get another permit, but I think Adam had stated that he's adding that to an existing, correct? And it's
But-
going to come in as one.
Yeah, the challenge is you wouldn't need a zoning permit if you need to do a kitchen renovation. If you're doing like for like, the UCC doesn't require you to do that. So
Right.
candidly, how that's policed if we don't know you're doing it, I don't know.
Right. But if we don't approve this, you lose access to the grants we've been getting,
And the discounts
along
on
with the
insurance.
discount on insurance, so,
Yeah, the carrot's big. And I can assure everyone that the township engineer is not driving around. He's got a lot of things on his plate looking for renovated kitchens to ask for the permit.
okay. Any other questions? Good. Next on the agenda is the introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh?
This is ordinance number 2025-09.